Hey guys, welcome back to another season of Bad Days the podcast. I am Rachel and I am your host, and I wasn't sure if I was going to do this again, but I had a think and I was just kind of thinking about the direction of the podcast and the direction of my small business and everything like that. And even though sustainability is something that I will still talk about and I am going to talk about constantly, and it should you know, be a constant theme throughout every episode. It's hard to talk about only that and not talk about, fashion history or textiles or different parts of the fashion industry that are important to talk about that affects sustainability. And so I kind of want to cover a larger range of things rather than just sustainability in general because it just makes more sense in my opinion. And I have started going to fashion school on Saturdays and taking design classes, and I've been learning a lot more about the fashion industry through that. And I feel like I have more of a knowledge now of the fashion industry and how sustainability can be played in that, and how sustainability can't really work in certain situations. And I want to explain some of those situations. And so a lot of that comes with, the history of fashion and when synthetics were born, and, when people started making certain clothes and what fabrics have to go with those clothes in order for those clothes to take shape. And obviously, talking about that talks about fibers. And I'm just going on a rant at the moment, but I have a lot of stuff that I want to talk about, and I still want to incorporate small business stuff just because that was the main part of this podcast as well. And it's good to see a different perspective. So, yeah, what has changed? I've now decided that I will refuse to do this podcast in my car. It's embarrassing. I know that the quality of the sound is amazing, but I just would rather be comfortable. I'm currently in my bed. I have my own little table propped up on me. I have my coffee. I have my water bottle. So, yeah. So, I should probably do a brief introduction about what I've been up to lately and how things have changed since the first season. And actually, a lot of things have changed. So, firstly, I graduated my communications degree. I now have a new job working in fashion. I am doing their social media, and I get to see how everything works on the inside of a sustainable small business. And it's super exciting. I'm learning so much, and I feel like a lot of that information I will be talking about on this podcast as well. So get ready for all of that. Like I said, I started fashion design on the weekends, and so that is going to help with my small business and gaining all those skills and everything like that with design and construction. And hopefully, I will be able to apply that into my small business very soon. And we do learn a lot about sustainability in that course, which gets me very excited. I had a really amazing teacher who I unfortunately no longer have because she had to leave, but was really passionate about sustainability. She is a designer, and it was really cool to talk about that kind of stuff with her. Other than that, I've been focusing on my small business, making new bags for a new drop. But as I've been studying design and stuff, I definitely want to take the route of making more clothes and stuff like that, other than accessories and crochet, because my hands, as I said in the last season, or if you're new to the podcast, I did hurt my hands from crocheting too much, which is a bit embarrassing. And I just need to take a step back and maybe think about the direction of my small business and if it is even possible to continue crochet. So I have a lot to think about and a lot to do this year, but I am excited to see where it goes and everything like that. For today, I really want to talk about monetizing your hobbies because if you probably haven't noticed, I tend to do that a lot. I monetized my love for clothing, I monetized my love for crochet. I've done a lot of things, and especially if you listen to my episode about how I started a small business, you can tell that I really just like monetizing the things that I'm passionate about. And I feel like that there is a lot of negative and positive things that come with that. And I would like to talk about those things and maybe give you a warning to not do it. Or if you do want to do it in a way that doesn't, make you tired and not passionate about the things that you were passionate about before. So let us dive straight into it. Also, do you hear those cars? Because it is going to drive me insane and I'm so sorry. But I want comfort, okay? I just want comfort. I want my coffee. I don't want to be in the back of my car doing this podcast again. And maybe one day I'll have a studio, but for now, hope you enjoy. So let's talk about monetizing your hobbies. Monetizing your hobbies essentially is finding something that you're passionate about and choosing to make that your job, your life, your work, and making money from it. And there's definitely pros to that, and there's definitely cons to that as well. You do hear people say, do what you love and love what you do, but with that does come some consequences. Like, you might get too tired, you might be burnt out, you might not love the thing that you were passionate about before anymore because you just do it all the time, or it becomes more of a chore. And those are the things that I do want to talk about. So to start with, the obvious pro is, you found something you love, you found a way to make money from it, and now it's your business, it's your baby. So for example, you really love, making furniture. Okay, for an example, you've found a passion for upholstery, you really want to turn that into something that you love. You want to start your own business and make it yours as well. And so, you save up all this money, you start to, invest in your name, your business number, your website, your materials, and you put your heart and your soul into something that you absolutely love. And I can tell you firsthand that that is a beautiful thing, and it makes you feel so fulfilled and so happy, and you want to do it for the rest of your life. And I just remember, the first few months of me starting my small business, it's all I wanted to do. I wanted to go home. I wanted to start planning, when I was at my actual job, saving money for this. All I could think about was my business. And, having that feeling is so nice, and you feel so fulfilled, and you want to hold on to that forever. The downside to that is sometimes it doesn't last forever. And I'm not saying that I don't have the same passion. Well, I do have the same passion that I have for my business. It's just that because, over time you think about it from the minute you wake up to the minute that you go to bed. That person that, started his upholstery business has to wake up at 5 a.m, get to work on, his products for his clients, think about how the business is going marketing wise, how it's going on the website, how his customer base is going, how he responds to clients, how he keeps up with demand, all of these things. Maybe he's got workers that he's hired, he has to think about the cost of that, the cost of the materials. And thinking about that, especially if it's your own business, it's a constant. It is constantly on your mind. It's not like you can wake up, go to work your 9 to 5, get home and not think about it for the rest of the day. Like, for example, with me, as Bad Days is part-time, I wake up, I do my 9 to 5, Bad Days is in the back of my mind, I come home, and then my mind is directed straight onto my website and my business and everything, and my my crochet and all of that kind of stuff. It's what I constantly think about. And if Bad Days was to be my full-time job, I would wake up, I would think about my business, I would do all that stuff. I wouldn't have a 9 to 5. I would have like a 5 to 9, like 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. constant thinking about this business. And it gets tiring. It really does. And that is the downside to monetizing your hobbies. If it goes well, that's amazing. Maybe you can hire people to take over and, not sell your business, but, hire people to take the edge off and, hire someone in marketing, hire a creative lead, hire, that kind of stuff. And it does take the weight off it, but at the same time, it really doesn't, because it is your business and it's your baby and it's what you want to do. And so there's a couple of things that I want you to think about before starting your business. To still keep it on the positive note, I'm a big advocate for why the hell not? Like, if you want to do something, do it. Why not? If you have nothing to lose and say you live at home, you're not paying bills, you've got savings and you've got time to work on this stuff, then why the hell not? Like, start small, start doing the things that you know you're able to do, and research the things that you don't know how to do, and just do it. Like, I'm definitely that kind of person that if you tell me that you want to do something, do it. I really hate hearing people say that they want to do something and they have the means to do it and they're able to, and then they don't. And then I ask why, and they go, I don't know. I just don't know if I can. But if you can, just do it. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to start that business, do it. If you want to monetize the thing that you love, do it. And if at the end of the day you realize that maybe it's not for you, then don't do it. Like, do what you want to do. It's just that when it is something that you're completely passionate about, it is a hobby at the moment, it's something that you do every day, I want you to make sure that you do it in a way that doesn't affect your entire life in only a negative way. So, for example, when I started my business, like I said, it's all I thought about morning to night. And I'm kind of thankful that I have this podcast now as my hobby. So I have, my business that I think about. I spend time in the afternoon working on the website, working on my designs, working on my orders. And then sometimes, if I want to do something that is fun, that I enjoy, and that I like, I will go to my podcast and I will record an episode. And I think that that is the reason why I'm not going to monetize this. At the current moment, as I have my business, I don't plan on monetizing my podcast because I don't want the pressure. I don't want to lose the thing that I enjoy the most and have it be a chore and something that I have to do and think about all the time. And that is something that definitely comes with starting and monetizing your hobbies and creating a business out of it. But say you've gone through all of this thought, you've thought about the pros and everything like that, and you want to start the business, you want to monetize the thing that you love the most, whether it be making clothes, making jewelry, selling something, selling a service, you want to be a hairdresser or you want to do brows or something like that. You have to think about, firstly, what are the pros to keeping it as just a hobby and not something that you sell. When it is just a hobby, there is less pressure. Say you've learned the art of upholstery, it's not your job, it's not something you do every day. And upholstery is probably a bad example because, anyway, if say you come home from your day in IT and you want to make this chair that you really, really want to make, and you have all the materials at home, there's no pressure if it is just a hobby to be perfect. If it's for you, you're making a chair for yourself, there is no pressure to make it absolutely perfect. You're not impressing anyone but yourself, unless you're a perfectionist like me. There's more freedom to explore this hobby, make mistakes, and do a botched job that you're not actually selling to someone else because it is for you. Another thing is that you really get to enjoy the process. There's no time limit set for you. There's no, oh my God, I have to have this chair done by tomorrow or this client is going to get so mad at me. I might have to discount it, or, maybe they paid too much and I just can't get it done in time, or I have too much going on. You don't have that time restraint to fully enjoy what you're doing. Also, if you end up losing interest in that hobby, say, you learnt to crochet and after a few months you realize, this isn't for me, I don't love it anymore. There's no pressure to just give it up. Especially if, you've invested some time and money, there's no pressure to go, okay, well, it wasn't 10 grand worth of textiles and stuff that I purchased for a business. I spent $20 on some yarn and didn't enjoy it, and that is it. Over. And these are things that I want you to think about when you're thinking about monetizing your hobbies. Can you really do this every single day? Is this something that you can think about every single day? And is this something that you will continue to be passionate about? Which is hard to say because I am someone who, especially with crochet, which thankfully I still love and I still want to do, minus the pain in my hands. A couple of months ago, I might have started to hate it. And as someone who is a very impulsive person who did start crochet and integrate it into my business quite quickly, what if I did hate it a few months later? What if I just put all this money, I changed my entire business name, which used to be about selling t-shirts and, machine embroidery and stuff like that. What if I flip this over to crochet? I've decided this is what I'm doing. I'm making accessories, and then 2 months down the track, I realize I hate it and this is not what I want to do. I can't constantly change my small business over and over again. It's just, it doesn't help. It doesn't help the people that follow me because they might lose interest in the things that I'm creating because it's not the same as what it was. The brand ethos and, the brand core values and meaning might change. And that definitely impacts, your customers and your clients and everything like that. You can't go from the same business, hairdressing, one day and selling that service to selling nails. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to carry that on and constantly change it because it is something that you're not passionate about anymore. Those are things that you really have to think about before monetizing your hobbies. So, say you've already made your hobby your job now, or your part-time job. Everything that you do is to go towards a sale and to make money to live. Okay, you've already made that. Mistake or not, maybe you're still obsessed with it. That's fine. Maybe it is a mistake and you need to slow down. I do see the value in still having an additional hobby that you do that doesn't, involve money, monetizing. It doesn't involve expectations or anything like that. I find it so important to have a hobby that you enjoy that is just for you. And I'm trying to tell myself that my podcast is that thing. And I don't know if that's true because the podcast, obviously, there is a possibility of it being monetized and I can take that route if I choose to. At the moment, I'm going to say no, and I want this to be just my hobby that I do, that I am passionate about and that I enjoy to do, that has nothing to do with crochet. I just see such an importance in having a hobby that you love. And it doesn't have to be like an extravagant creative hobby. It could be watching reality TV. It could be going to the gym. It could be going on walks or swimming or, anything creative. Like maybe you paint on the side, but you don't actually want people to see what you paint. It is just something for you that you enjoy. And it is something that I still struggle with, but I do need to emphasize the importance of this. For example, everything, like I said before, everything that I've done before I've wanted to sell or show, and that could just be me as a person, that could just be me wanting validation, I don't know yet. But a couple of years ago I wanted to draw and I loved it as a hobby. I've been drawing since I was 10, and there have been moments where I've wanted to monetize it, and there has been, I turned some of my drawings into t-shirts, but before then all I did was draw. I didn't want to show. There's a couple of things that I used to draw that I just didn't show anybody. That was my thing. And I chose not to monetize those things. And that did make me a lot happier. And I do wish that I still kept it up. I think at the moment it's not plausible because it is such a creative outlet that I don't have time for. But, it is so important to have those things. So yeah, to conclude that ramble, say you really want to monetize your hobby, I just want to make sure that you also have something on the side that is just for you, that is no pressure. Because if you're adding so much pressure onto your everyday, and especially because you will add so much pressure if it is your business and your baby and the thing that you love the most, you need something that is a creative outlet that doesn't have to be creative. It can be sporty, practical, anything like that. Just something that you enjoy for yourself and isn't for anyone else and isn't to prove to anyone else anything. Anyway, sorry if that was a bit of a mess, but I just really want to stress the importance of that. But let's say, for example, because this is a fashion podcast, I'm going to circulate back to fashion. You have a hobby that is you love making clothes. That is something you adore. That is something that you are incredibly passionate about. You want to show the world this is what you do without monetizing it. The issue with fashion is that it is such an expensive hobby, and it is one of the things that my tutor on one of my Saturday classes first said to me was that, like, say, you know, you paid for this course, you learn how to design and construct and everything like that, and you don't monetize off of it, then it is just an expensive hobby. And that is true for so many creative outlets. You know, even painting, you have to pay for all of those materials, the brushes, the paints, you know, the canvas, everything. Same with fashion, you have to pay for every single little process, you know, whether it is big or small. So, for example, on a small scale, need to buy the fabrics, you need to buy the sewing machine, all the threads, you need to buy, you know, fabric and stuff isn't cheap at all. So those are things you may need to take into consideration. But even on a larger scale, you know, you want to buy samples of fabrics, you want to look into getting a manufacturer, you want to hire a seamstress because you can't sew very well, you want to find the perfect print for this idea of this dress that you want. Like, all of these things, every single little step is going to cost so much money. So if you were to not monetize it and it be only your hobby, that is so much money that you are investing in yourself. So there are pros to this. This is not a negative thing, but it is so much money that you are spending on something that is just for you. So I totally understand the reason that you would want to monetize this and start a business like I did and do all these big adventurous things with it, because it's worth it. You're putting so much money and time and effort into this hobby that you are absolutely in love with, and you want it to go somewhere because you are putting all of that into this little hobby of yours. And that is the main pro of monetizing your hobby and creating a business out of it. The cons come with it, so many cons. Like, I just need to emphasize that when I say cons, it's not like this is why you shouldn't do it. It's just things that you need to take into consideration, that starting a business is not easy. When you start a business, because it's yours, you're going to wake up in the morning, first think about your business. Throughout the whole day, you're going to be thinking about what you can do next, or what you need to do, or what you haven't done yet. And then by the time you go to sleep, you're still thinking about it. And that means that your 9 to 5 has turned in to your entire life. You're going to be completely consumed by it. And if that is something that you can handle, which honestly for me, it's probably something that I'm quite good at. If you can handle it, amazing. But if you can't, or if you don't know if you can, that is just something you need to take into consideration when monetizing your hobby. For me, I feel like constantly having something to do really does help, and maybe having a small business is actually good for me, or having a business in general. But at the same time, you know, you can see, you can ask my friends or my boyfriend or something like that, that I will probably go insane when I have so many things to do. Like, I just zone out and everything. So maybe I'm not good at it. I don't know. Personally, I think I'm quite good at it. I feel like I always like to have something to do, but my friends and my family might say different. So yeah, I'm a big advocate for doing the things that you want to do. If there is something that you want to start, there's something you want to invest in, do it. I'm 100% on board with your idea. Just make sure that you're not minimizing the situation that you're about to put yourself in. Can you do this? Or not, can you do this? Will you do this? Will you do all the things that you're saying that you're going to do? And will you keep that passion for your hobby and stick with it and stick by it, and realize that someday down the track, you might not have that same spark and that passion anymore for the thing that you love to do, but you might be in too deep. You might already have success and constant clients and constant customers, and it's going to be an everyday situation for you. And you might love it, but you might lose part of your passion for it. And if you don't want to lose that passion for the creative thing that you love to do, it is also okay to not monetize your hobby. It is okay to do both. So, those are just some things that I want you to think about when it comes to turning your hobby into something much more. Maybe start small, start selling things quite slowly, or, sharing your creativity or the things that you love to do online and see what the responses are. Monitor the way that you feel, monitor if you're putting too much pressure on yourself, or if you're getting too tired, or if you're having to push people away because you just don't have time anymore. Just take those things and just make sure it's not something that is only negatively impacting you and your life. Like I said before, I think that the podcast will be more of my hobby. I enjoy talking about the things that I'm passionate about, especially now that I know more of what I'm talking about, and it's not constant research like last season where I would spend a whole week just fully, deeply researching the things that I didn't know about. And now that I have that actual knowledge, I'll be able to apply it with examples and talk about other situations within the fashion industry, to do with sustainability and everything like that. And hopefully you guys enjoy this season and all the things that I want to talk about. I want to talk about fashion history. I want to talk about, reasons why you use certain textiles and maybe why it's not sustainable. I want to talk to other small businesses and other creators about the fashion industry and their concerns and their future goals and everything like that, and see where we can push fashion in a more sustainable direction in the future. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. Next episode hopefully is a lot more light, fluffy, less serious. Not saying that this one was that serious. I just really want you guys to take into consideration the things that I said and being careful and not, ruining the things that you love. So, yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to follow at Bad Days the Label on Instagram. I do still sell crochet bags and accessories and everything like that. The business itself may go in different directions as I start to become more skilled in fashion design, and I can't wait to see where that goes, and I can't wait to take you guys along with me. So I will see you guys next week, and thank you for listening.